Hello and welcome to the Comedy Wine List podcast, where we get to know comedians and wine one glass at a time. It's me, Steph, wine industry qualified nerd and comedian. We're back for series 2, and spoilers, it's all about French wine. Today we're chatting to Adam Flood. He's Blackout and King Gong qualifier. He sold out his Edinburgh Fringe show this year, and he's the BBC New Comedian nominee for 2019. Our chat today was recorded and filmed in Streatham Wine House in South London. It's a lush gem of a shop and bar, and it's the perfect place to pair Adam's light and silly voice to their organic Picpoul de Pinet. I really hope you get a sense of the place and taste of the wine through my chat today with Adam Flood. So this is Adam. If you've not met him yet, when was the last time we saw each other at a gig recently?
It was a few weeks back at Not Another Comedy Night.
Yeah, so you're running that together with Alfie, or are you kind of emceeing it?
Yeah, I don't run it. I want that to be clear.
Okay.
Because I don't want any of the responsibility. No, it's very nice that a guy called Adam Elliott runs it, and he has me and Alfie Packham, who I sometimes call Alfie Brown, which he loves, accidentally. But we run it, we host it and MC it. Yeah. And you were very good.
Well, you used the word chaotic energy that night, didn't you?
Yeah.
There was a lot of chaotic energy in the room, and you rode it like a wave.
Yes. I like that. Yeah. I just think that is a fun thing to have at a gig, especially like a new material open mic gig, which is, you know, for people who don't know anything about comedy or listening or watching, it's like, new people or people who are comedians who are trying new stuff. And like, if you make it chaotic, then it's fine if it's bad.
That's
because
true.
Then you can make it sort of weird and bad.
I think you find it funny when it's that energy as well, because I saw there was a wry smile on your face several times when you were like stirring it up and making it crazy.
Rye.
A rye smile.
I don't know what a rye smile looks like.
Like a glint in your eye. Like oopsie, stirring the pot, having a little bit of fun. That's what it seemed like to me.
I think, I like that Carnegie feel at a gig, because I was running that gig outside of a barbershop window.
Oh yeah, that was
and I think that has had a big impact on how especially how I host a gig, because I learned how to host a gig in the street where there are dogs and homeless people interacting with the gig.
Yeah.
And so
I can't like I've hosted before as well. I can't fathom how difficult that would be.
No, it was 100% difficult.
You had police at one point?
Police, council, angry people.
This was throughout lockdown, so people were still establishing if this was a okay thing to be happening on the streets or whatever.
Yeah, and the council were like, uncharacteristically like, no.
Famously so for British councils.
And so we just kind of powered on through the bureaucracy. I tried to sweet talk them. I think it worked out every now and again. But then they're just, God love them. They've got nothing to do. Oh, they have a lot to do, but they're also able to channel their energy and to be like, oh, okay, well, there was the virus and people are doing entertainment outside, which is within the realms. Let's try and make it difficult. And it's not like I'm
just let me read the rules.
Licking the audience. Like, it's not my vibe.
Speaking about you sweet talking and stuff, you have a general silly outlook when it comes to your comedy, right? It's quite light-hearted, I would say.
Yeah.
Which is why today we've got a special wine. Now, my main issue with this podcast is we don't get to drink the wine for quite some time, but we're going to speed that process up today.
Let's go. Wow, it's 9 o'clock. Let's get the login.
9 a.m. on the dot. Let's do it. So you know what you are today.
Yeah. Yes.
So the reveal is not going to shock you. And you know that series 2, we're only doing French wines. So today we've got a Picpoul de Pinet from the south of France, from the Languedoc region, which is a beautiful region. And it's a very, very light-hearted, beautiful wine style. It's basically the new Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, okay.
Ever had Pinot Grigio before?
Yeah, I've had a Pinot. Little Pinot Grigio?
A little Pinot Grigio on a night out, like famously.
On a night out? Yeah, I have a couple of
love it.
shots of Pinot Grigio.
No, like when you're with your girls, you know.
Yeah. We've
you're
done our
like,
hair.
Oh my God,
Feeling
our first
cute.
day. And like you're bitching about some guy that, you know, you went on 2 dates
Tell me about him. Kiefer.
Oh, Keith, they're the worst.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, Pinot Grigio is just such a like light-hearted and friendly style.
That's nice, isn't it?
That's actually, I'm pouring the whole lot out today. Why not? It's a Saturday.
So it's the new Pinot Grigio. What's Pinot Grigio done to deserve being ousted?
Well, maybe it's not the new Pinot Grigio, but it's the French kind of Pinot Grigio, because that's an Italian kind of style, right?
Okay.
And it's come into big fashion over the last 5 years. You see it in pubs a lot, this Picpoul de Pinet grape. Have you actually had it before, this one?
No, I don't think I have. No, I have had wine, and I have had this.
You have?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm allowed
nice.
wine. I am allowed it.
So firstly, we always look at what we're about to drink, right? Because that's the systematic approach to tasting wine, is looking, smelling, and then tasting it.
Okay.
So what do you say about the kind of colour? It's very light, isn't it?
It's proper light. It's got a sort of a bit of a kind of mist within it. Very light,
True.
though.
So one thing to note is that we're actually in a place called Streatham Wine House, right? We
Yes.
haven't mentioned that. This is not just my living room, because that would be freaking awesome.
Yeah.
This is a
You
place
would
in
have a
Streatham.
problem.
I would, but I think that's actually what my weekly.
Yeah, it's your recycling bin looks like that.
Let's not publicise that. But you know, I do work in the wine industry, so that's allowed, right?
Yeah, okay.
I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
Mum, I'm not an alcoholic. She has flagged this several times. Drink safely and
Drink safely.
responsibly.
Drink irresponsibly, but safely. Don't do it on the edge of a cliff or anything. Be irresponsibly safe, please.
And be silly with it. So this place actually supplies a lot of organic wines, and I believe this is quite like cleanly produced by the Chateau de. Do you want to read it?
It's a Chateau de la Mirande.
That was so Spanish.
It's a Mirande. I don't know. Is it
This wine is from Longwood.
de la-
Oh, si, hola.
I panicked and I was like, I need to do some accent.
Put an accent on the E where it doesn't exist. So yeah, it's quite a light style. It's what I wanted to say as well, when we're on the subject of actually looking at it, can you see like the etchings on this bottle, Adam?
There is, yeah, I can. There is. So there's this cross here, which to me that looks like something in. Is it a Nazi thing?
No. Wow,
Okay.
people are not going to forget this wine style for a very long
Oh, but
time.
it looks like it's that cross kind of thing, not like a.
Yeah, it's a beautiful cross. This cross is actually a symbol of the Languedoc region from where this
okay.
wine is from.
That makes more sense. That makes more sense.
And this bottle is called a Neptune bottle, and you can only put Picpoul de Pinet in it. There's got sea waves around
Okay.
the neck. Okay.
So did the bottle exist before Picpoul, Mr. Picpoul Worldwide?
I think
That's what I think when you keep saying it. I'm
Mr.
like,
Picpoul.
okay, yeah.
The bottle actually came into existence, I think, in the 1980s when they started standardising the production of Picpoul de Pinet. It says Picpoul de Pinet on the front,
Yeah.
and then it's got some kind of like weird columns on the bottom to signify the Roman columns of the region. Now, all that's very nice and well,
That's cool, man.
but when I think about your comedy,
Ah, yes.
I've got to link it somehow.
Yeah.
You do have a very specific style in which you dress when you're on stage. And I was thinking,
yeah.
what is Adam going to wear today? A loose shirt. He's going to have that haircut, which he opens his set by talking about.
Yeah.
So you do have a very specific look, much like the Picpoul bottle. Did the comedy start first and then the look? Or was it always a look and then the comedy?
Oh no, I did look like something before I started doing comedy. I wasn't an amorphous gas.
You looked like you worked as startup, because you did.
Yeah. Well, I think I owned all. Okay, so the clothes that I've got on now, I think I probably owned this before I started doing comedy.
Okay.
My haircut is what it is.
But you do open your...
Yeah.
So,
But it's a funny one because the
you have
haircut.
to address it.
Yeah, but the haircut happened. Like I didn't get the haircut for the joke.
Okay.
The joke is no, I'm not going to do the joke.
No.
But you know,
Can't spoil it.
yeah, you can come and watch. But I had the haircut like a similar one, and the hairdresser did it more severe, and I made a joke about it when I was doing the barbershop gig. and it went down well.
Yeah.
It's about looking like a monk, and then so I embellished on it, and I was like, I'm gonna have to have this haircut forever then. But the thing is that I like in some circles, it is a fashionable haircut. Like if I was in Bergheim, strapped up and strapped on
on wherever.
I've never been. I'd like to. I'm not cool enough to get in the queue. Although I mean enough black.
You could pass.
But you have to know any German, and I can only speak German with a severely Spanish accent, as we've heard with the French.
You can speak French with a severely Spanish accent.
So I'd be I don't know enough German to be able to do that. But yes, and I like to wear. I think I try and like to look like not specifically like that you could figure out what I'm about. Do you know?
There's definitely an element of hipsterness to it, but it's not quite hipster.
Yeah.
It's not mainstream hipster either. It's alternative hipster.
I like to look like the thing that I think is very funny. Him hearing the claws out here. You don't look like a thing.
No, you do. It's a very unique. Like, you know, if my eyes are closed and I was feeling this bottle, I don't know.
Feeling this.
I'm like, oh, that's a Picpoul de Pinet. Well, my eyes are open and I see you. I'm like, oh, that's Adam Flood style.
Yes. Well, I like it. I think what is funny in general is getting something wrong, you know, or like I like a wider thing that I'm trying to go for is like just missing the mark.
Okay.
You know, not missing the mark with like being funny. Because that would be unfunny.
Yes.
But that could be funny in itself.
Okay.
Herein lies the rub. No, so basically, yeah, I think I kind of try and look like, not like full hipster, but also where you just be like, oh, I don't really know what that guy's about.
Yeah, but it's still very unique and memorable.
Well,
so you've got that going for you.
Brilliant.
Right, we get to smell the wine now.
Okay.
Now that we've chatted about what it looks like.
So...
What are you getting? I always put people on the spot for this
It's
wine.
very light.
Definitely. There's a lot of like lemoniness to it.
Yeah, I'd say like a sort of a mild kissing of grapefruits.
Oh, a smattering of grapefruits.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? It's been like introduced. It knows of a grapefruit. Like
distant cousin of
exactly.
There's a little bit of like this... by the waves on the neck, you'd gather that this place is near the seaside.
De la Mer.
De la Mirande. Yeah. It's definitely seaside wine, so maritime climate. There's a bit of salinity when it comes to Picpoul de Pinet.
Does that mean salt?
Yeah.
I was going to say
sea
salt.
air.
I wish I'd said salt, so I could have said that before you said it and then said.
Annoyed enough, so I know that that's actually true, and that was going through your mind at the time.
Yeah.
So I believe you there. Yeah, definitely, like this crisp freshness.
And it is fresh because once I've had a good few sniffs of it, I'm no longer really getting, you know, like if you sniff like a full-bodied, treacly red wine, where you just like every time you're like you're sniffing.
Yeah, like pow, right in the nose, right in the kisser.
This is sort of gone, but yeah, I think that's it. Like salty one side, bit of fruity on the other, but not too fruity.
How would you describe your comedy in 3 words? Salty but fruity.
Salty. That's my attitude towards comedy. Salty. To all of my colleagues.
But removing the Picpoul, like, what do you tend to say about it?
I think it is silly, energetic, and I kind of like. I'm trying my best to do stuff that's like. I like to take a subject which is maybe current or relevant or meaty in some way, and like land somewhere maybe a bit different through. So whatever that would be in a word, wrong.
Yeah. Like a little
off
bit.
Kilter. That's a cheeky one because I'm hyphenating a word there, so really.
It doesn't count, does it? I'm trying to like bring up some of the topics that you do.
Yes.
And one of my favourite jokes of yours has to do with where you're from, which is Stoke-on-Trent, famously.
Yeah, famously.
Another thing that links, this is going to be such a tenuous link, but we're going to go with it.
Go on.
So this actual chateau has some southern-facing vineyards, okay? And that's good in the wine trade, especially if you're in France, because those grapes get way more sun. But southern-facing, you moved from the north, southern-facing down to London.
Yeah.
How does you being from Stoke tie into like doing comedy in London? Does it help?
I think that it's good because I've got a bit of an outsider perspective.
Okay.
Which I think just makes people a bit more interested, maybe, like, a slight sort of up. I mean, on the whole, I'm a white straight guy, so it gives me some sort of thing of like, oh, well, at least he's not from Kent.
You say that though. I recently, I did a gig in Bristol the other day. It was like my first gig outside of London. So obviously I referenced being from London like a tool.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have, because like London is the one place that's not
everyone,
exactly.
The rest
of Britain.
Well, I've just been gigging in Manchester this week, and I had 3 shows, one in Stockport and then a couple in Manchester, and I played around with how I talked about, because there's some bits where I need to, now I've got some stuff where I'm like, I'm talking about I'm living in the south,
okay,
but like need to, and like so I can call myself a bastard for turning my back on it and those sort of things, but I think when I started, I definitely talked way too much about being from Stoke, because it was just like, oh, that's a thing that people are laughing about. And then I sort of put it to one side for a while, and then now I've kind of brought it back in to set up, because I do think it sets up like, who I am as a person, of having like a sort of bit of a conflict within me of like being, moving away from Stoke and the sensibilities there, which is not to be sat in a basement talking comedy and sipping a wine and smelling it. What do you mean you're fucking smelling it? You drink it.
There's the famous accent that always cracks me up. Yeah. Okay, well, firstly, cheers.
Cheers.
Continue that train of thought, because...
May I?
Mm-hmm. That is...
That's nice.
That is delicious.
That is a good wine.
Well done, Streatham Wine House.
Big up these guys.
£12 retail. Come down south and get it.
£12?
It's delicious, yeah. Nicely chilled.
Tell you what, that's not bad. I like that sort of wine. Because I think that wine, like for a while, wine became, I think, especially white wine, like everyone would drink like that dead mumsy, like...
Chardonnay, sort of.
Well, no, but Chardonnay was like, I feel like people would be like, oh, Chardonnay is no good. Yeah. And then everyone would have, and I don't know what I'm on about, by the way, Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah.
Is that white?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's,
Sauvignon Blanc is what I mean. Yeah. And that, like that one that tastes like umbongo. It's like so fruity. You're like,
it's umbongo.
It's umbongo. It's a fruit drink from long ago.
Okay. Oh, good to know.
But fruity, dead fruity, like a can of lilt.
So Riesling, like back in the day, was famously like that.
Really?
Like in the 80s or 90s, it was just like off-dry, sugary kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fruit juice. But this is wine. This is like a grown-up Pinot Grigio. That's how I would say.
I can't, because Pinot Grigio is a bit more light, isn't it?
It's so light. But like, there are some areas in Italy that grow really good Pinot Grigio, but most of the stuff you get in supermarkets is just like, this one has a lot more character to it. So, a lot more silliness and saltiness. So
where in Italy?
No,
this is France.
Yeah.
So where in France?
Is Languedoc.
Okay.
Right in the south. So these grapes get a lot of sunshine actually, and they get to mature quite a lot, giving them that bit more of a boost. There's a bit of like, there's maybe a bit of peach in there as well.
It's in French, the back, so I'm struggling with reading
Put
what
it down, babes.
What I can see, what I do love, which you know that this is a legit wine, is they've got their email on the back.
Oh, that's cool.
And their email is vinmirande@hotmail.com. So they don't even have a website. They're just like Blue Yonder, like just...
This happens with so many like French vineyards and stuff. Like they don't have kind of marketing because they know that their product is good and they've been growing it on the land for years, and they're just farmers who know how to do a decent wine.
What is a French farmer got business with a Squarespace?
A YouTube channel. I mean, that's what we're doing.
We're doing the dirty work for us. Chuck us a free bottle, lads.
We'll support you because this is delicious.
Yeah,
I love it.
I concur with your work. Yeah. This is very, very crisp. Yeah,
there's definitely a bit of peach there, but there's also that grapefruit that you were talking about, I think. Bit of lemon, bit of lime rind maybe, and then that salinity at the bottom there.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that makes it it makes it nicer than like those are lilty drinks I'm on about, where you just like, it's so sweet.
The acid is definitely balanced in this. It's not like paint stripper or anything.
Like stuff from New Zealand, I always think is like, number one, it's the other side of the world. Leave it. Like there's a climate crisis, and we're getting all white.
French down the road.
French, you can push it across the sea in the water if you wanted.
That's true. That's probably how it came to us.
Difficult.
So you are a great guy to pair with French wine, aren't you?
Yeah.
None of that nonsense. Do it traditional like.
Yeah, proper homegrown stuff.
I was hoping you did the accent, and you Adam never disappoints.
Kent. There's wine in Kent. I went to a distillery. Is it a distillery? A winery.
A winery, yeah.
And I can't remember the name of it was. I can't remember the full name, but it's like their initials on the wine on their bottle is BV, which I'm guessing there are no women in the marketing department because BV is a type of thrush, I believe. Yeah. So on the bottle it's like BV. I'm like, no women.
Yeah, you need to not market it to like,
nice wine, but change the name.
Just change your entire marketing ethos. I don't know, I think I'd buy it as a joke.
Yeah, I know, but then at your dinner party, it's like, anyone want a glass? Everyone's like, I'm okay.
To me, that's banter, but maybe I need to grow up a little bit more.
Depends what you're doing. If you're, meeting some sort of royalty, it's a big day.
Like, every day for me.
Yeah.
It's hard life. But, like, a few times in that last few sentences that you did, do you have a tendency to do sound effects?
I do,
talk, but you do them a lot on stage, and they really lift your comedy and make your voice a little bit more unique. Nice. A little bit of drool there. Why do you write that in, or is it just innate?
It's, I was born making sound effects, Steph.
What a douche.
I came out of the womb like... I just think that it adds a lot, and there's like a bit that I do, one of my bits that I like at the moment, and it was really good for a bit, and then it stopped being good, and I've changed it, and it works again, which I'm happy about that.
Which bit?
It's a bit about mental health. In the lockdown, I myself had quite a sort of breakdown. But like as did everybody, I'm generally pretty resilient. And it's about that, but it's about about maybe oversharing mental health and it being like this thing that we're all like expected to talk about. And maybe that isn't actually that helpful. Yeah. So I quite like that because it's quite contrary.
It's like you were saying earlier, you are unpacking quite a big topic, but in a really light-hearted way.
Yeah. And using sound effects to... Yes. But it's about like the way that men don't talk about the feelings and the way that women do, and using things within that, like there's like a beep of a sort of a life support machine going off, and the sound of air being let out of a bottle.
I like the Coke bottle.
All of these things that I just think it brings to life. Because I think what I really like when I watch stand-up, and I do stand-up as I imagine you do, because you like watching it, or at least sometimes, and I like it when I can picture exactly what the person is talking about, especially because you're either saying this is a new thing that you've not thought about, or now I've set that up, the premise, and I'm taking you through that example. And I think if you're doing sound effects, it just adds a bit of richness to what is quite a limited toolkit that you've got.
That's very true. But when I first heard your joke about mental health, it was on the right track, and everyone was kind of like fascinated by it because it's a contentious topic to talk about. Yeah. And then the moment you did the kind of Coke bottle noise, I was like, oh, that's an Adam Flood joke. That's when it started becoming more your voice, because you do in every like big chunk of storytelling or anecdotal references you do, because you're more observational, I would say, than a storyteller necessarily.
Yeah, I'd say.
There's always some kind of like lift, and it's normally an auditory feeling of something. Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's bad. Maybe it's good.
No, and it's great. It's definitely your style. Yeah. You definitely have a style. But are you conscious when you're writing that? You are, you said. You're kind of mining it for. Does the joke start with the sound?
Well, I think what happens more and more, I'm more and more confident with going to new material things with like, this is the gist. And I think what happened with that one was that there was it was just a line in the joke that was about a line within the bit about like, don't always talk about your mental health. You should deal with it. If you drop a bottle of Coke on the floor, do you open it right away, or do you leave it for a long time before you deal with it? Which is a great way to deal with it.
I think part of what is funny about it is I am watching a man deal with mental health as a man would, but on stage.
Well, that's the point of it.
Yeah.
And
it comes across that way, yeah.
But that line I had, and it was just in it, and it was shorter in some way, I don't know, and it got a big laugh, and I didn't think it was a particularly funny line, so then I was like, okay, so there's something about the Coke bottle. So then I was like, what else how can I map that out across men? And I know it's quite obviously that the genders are not a binary in that way, but for the purposes of talking about it.
I mean, I identify with it quite a lot, like the slow kind of seeping out of mental health issues that women do. And that's, why we can kind of deal with it a little bit better, because we're talking about it not constantly, but in a sort of low level, like you kind of address in your comedy. But it's funny that's how you get something funnier, basically. It doesn't start with the sound effect. You go, this is what I want to talk about. This got a laugh, and now the sound effect is added because I'm trying to make something like really come to life. Yeah. That's the process.
And I think I am doing much more of that, and I don't know if you find that as like probably when you're emceeing as well, is that like I wait until the audience tell me what's funny. So like if I'm figuring something out and they laugh at that bit, and I'm like, okay, that's the funny thing.
I'm only just getting brave enough to do that. Yeah. I'm only just getting brave enough to go up and write something that day and then go to a new material gig and be like, okay, this is the shit I wrote. Yeah. Because I'm trying to figure out what I'm like on stage still to this day. Yeah. But it's a fun process. That's why the podcast started, because I'm like, how did you get your voice?
Well, I mean, I don't think that I've got my voice.
See, I disagree, because I think you're quite unique in what you do, and I can tell when that's an Adam Flood joke, and that's cool. What Adam Flood looks like, and it's easy to categorize for me. Whether or not that's what you're going for, I don't care, because I'm the audience, so I'm
Well, it just sort of it adapts, like I was saying at the start, or that I think that doing this. I was doing a load of shows that were quite rowdy. Yeah. And that, I don't know, impacted me, and I think that made me a bit more performative, because I had to be. But that's cool. I think I've dropped, I think, a lot of stuff that I used to have that was just like made up, or just not made up, but you're just like, why am I saying this? This is not about something that I care about. It's not really about anything. Yeah. So like, why am I wasting my time saying this?
I've started feeling that with like jokes. I'm like, does this tell the audience anything about me at all? And if it's a no, then I'm kind of like growing colder to those kinds of jokes.
Yeah. Like, me. And I think you can also be telling them about something about themselves.
True. What they find funny, I guess.
Yeah, and it can't be, I don't know. Like I find I can't just go up and be like, right, so these are observations about the world. Because they're like, well, who the shit are you, mate? We don't know Pitbull, Mr. Pitbull worldwide.
Pitbull, Mr.
Okay. That's Little John, I think.
Yeah. What does Pitbull do?
I don't know. I should know, because he is literally worldwide.
He's literally worldwide.
He's here in Streatham. He's omnipotent. Like the Lord. Present.
He lives inside of us.
He lives in you.
No, we don't sit on this podcast.
Oh.
Anyway, okay. So you have got a show coming out soon.
Yes.
Although you've already done the show in Edinburgh.
And what about when this comes out? I'll have done the show, so I'll have already done the show.
The show is done.
We're promoting.
How did the show go, Adam?
Awful. And I'll say brilliant, and you can edit those too.
Okay, awesome.
Depending on how it goes. No, it's a show that I was doing in Edinburgh with Paddy Young, my good friend, and we did Edinburgh, and Edinburgh was brilliant because nobody went.
It was sold
everyone
out.
Was pussy and didn't go. So I got dragged by him. So
tell everyone why Edinburgh was so great for comics that went this year in 2021.
Well, so Edinburgh Festival is massive. There's I think there's so what I heard, there's usually 4,000 performers. The last time, so there's 4,000 shows.
Comedy? No, that's everything.
It's not comedy. Most of the comedy isn't comedy.
That's so true.
No, I've seen
an experience. Go.
so many brilliant things at Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Like to be honest, I don't think the only bad thing I've seen is magic.
But even now, if it's bad, that's hilarious. So that's comedy.
It was the first when I first went. My friend booked 3 magic shows in a row.
Are they okay? Do they need help?
No, my friend Gabriel is not okay. He's
Fair enough.
mad.
Clearly.
But and even the first one was like, this is bad, and we've got 2 more magic shows. Yeah. But anyway, there's all sorts of stuff, and there's 4,000 shows. So I think that there's maybe that many going on every day almost, because like this venue, this would be if it was Edinburgh, you'd have a show in here. Every restaurant, everything, there's a show. So 4,000 performers there were not, because they only figured out 6 weeks before they were going to do the Fringe.
Good point.
So not many people went and did it. Paddy was going to be doing a different show, and it didn't end up doing it, and so I got roped into helping him do this split. And I at first was like, I don't know if I want to do it, and Paddy was like, go on, please, I beg you. He begged me on his hands and his knees. Can you remember Paddy? No, he did. No, and I'm really glad that I did it with him, because it was incredible, because there were way less people, but there's way less performers, and most people were only doing a week or a few days. Yeah. Like any big names that were there that I saw, Sam Campbell, I saw, can't remember now. But because
I guess you still got the hardcore Edinburgh comedy supporters and goers who actually went that year, and then you got the performers who happened to be there to kind of catch the people who wanted comedy, because there was such an underserving of it this year.
Yeah, and it
whereas normally it's way too many shows and no audience members.
Yeah, and this is the thing. I'm just like, if we could get all of the comedians to agree to not be greedy and do a week, because a week was so. The room that we had was like 111 people. It sold out.
Whoa!
First day that it got there.
I wasn't expecting it to be like 100. I thought it was like 50 or something.
No. First day, arrive. Sick. It is sold out the first 2. No flyering. I'm like, why?
I had this whole flyering skit that I was going to do, which you did before.
Well, yeah, I had a flyering skit before. Yeah. We did a bit of flyering in the middle, because the some days were empty. But it was amazing, and it made us have to really in Edinburgh, when I've been before, it's like, right, is anyone going to come? The main problem is anyone going to come? But then now it's like, well, how do we give 100 odd people a good show? Yeah. So, my first thing was like, I'm going to write a whole new half an hour. It's going to be really good for me. And so it's like, shit, I best be funny.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
And it was and I feel like I improved a lot.
Did you have to write half an hour, or did you strip out stuff? How did you curate that?
Well, at first it was like anything that, I work pretty hard at comedy. I spend a lot of time writing, and I gig a lot, and I still don't have a good half an hour.
That's only because we're perfectionists.
Yeah.
You definitely have more than half an hour. Probably.
Oh, I've written. But like, if it's not now, and now that I'm doing better gigs, I now have good bits that I'm happy with for this moment. I want it to be as good as my good bit. So if it's not like, because sure, there's things that are fine, and they're like, people are like, and dependent on, and I'm just figuring out making something longer and stuff. But so that was that, and that was brilliant, and got to do lots of other shows, and it wasn't quite as debaucherous as other Edinburghs, so it was very easy to be focused.
You could actually be a professional comedian.
I even went for a run.
Network and stuff. What?
I went for a run.
You were only there for a week.
I know.
You were there for a month. Okay.
It's crazy.
Wow, being healthy at the Edinburgh Fringe. You knew that was possible.
I didn't.
For a stand-up comic. Because one of my questions was, when you're at a wine bar and you're choosing between wines.
Yes, I know that feeling.
What do I want? I mean, it's frequent for me. I don't know. A wine bar aficionado.
I do sometimes. I do that. I have been known.
I'm glad
Peckham
you
Cellars.
said do. That made me happy. Peckham Cellars. All right, pimping it out.
Yeah.
And also Streatham Wine House. Great.
Yeah.
Rivals. I was thinking, how do you pick a partner for an Edinburgh Fringe show? Because you've picked Blake before.
Yeah.
What kind of qualities do they need to have in order to balance you out, or is it a similar energy?
Well, I don't know. I think the most important thing is that you got to like them. You got to be your friend.
That's true, because you're with them for a while, aren't you?
With them for a while, and also it's quite a vulnerable time. When I did it with Blake AJ, that was hard work. because Blake AJ is there always.
He's the Spanish Garnacha of the season 1.
Was he, what episode?
9 or 8, I can't
9
remember.
or 8.
They all blur into one, when you're getting...
I even listened to it and I enjoyed it, and that's why I'm here.
That's it. Yeah. I think you get on with him and his sense of humour. I think you two really
Blake AJ.
bounce off each other.
Yeah.
Film sketches together and stuff.
He's one of my best friends, yeah, for sure.
Aww.
Yeah.
Little tear rolling down your face.
Yeah, I have very few friends.
Just the one.
No, I do. I have lots of friends. I'm very lucky and rich in that capacity.
Are you trying to...
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. But
it's the Picpoul.
Yeah, so I think that is important, that you've got to like them. I think that you've got to think that they're good, or at least not bad.
Yeah.
Don't partner with a bad person, for the love of God.
You've got to respect them.
Well, I haven't had that for either, but...
the saltiness of
exactly.
Picpoul that is Adam Flood.
No, I think, and I think somebody's who wants the same sort of thing as you, as in like, what's your outcome from it and stuff. I mean, with Paddy, we're doing the show at Leicester Fringe Festival.
Oh, sweet! So there's another running of it.
So
So 2 North Down.
That's happened.
Book it. Well, after this episode would have aired, but I might clip this little bit.
Okay.
So 2 North Down, Wednesday the 3rd.
Wednesday the 3rd and 4th of November, 7 p.m, King's Cross. Come.
For some fun,
For some
and then
fun.
you're doing Leicester.
And then, we're doing Leicester in February. I think it's like there's 2 days then, like the weekends, 9 p.m, which is good because I think it's like, that will be fun.
Do you reckon you'll get like loads of tourists?
In Leicester? Who goes to Leicester?
I thought you meant Leicester Square.
No. I mean Leicester. As in like Leicester.
Yeah, no, that would have been a really odd question had I asked.
Yeah, all those Yanks who come over are like, we want to see Big Ben, we want to see Brighton, and we want to see Leicester. Why? The cheese. I don't know why you go to Leicester. God. Leicester's got a very big curry capital of the UK, I think it's called.
I've never been to Leicester. I dated someone from Leicester very briefly.
Yeah?
No, I'm not going to Leicester.
Okay. What are they called?
Can we invite them? We need people to come, Steph. Get over it. What are they called?
I'll tell you their name later of the show. If I remember their name. No, I'm joking. Anyway, so
but yeah,
I want to ask you something about your comedy and the fact that it's going to change in the future, right?
Yes.
Because wine also changes in its bottle over time.
Yeah.
This particular Picpoul, because it's like light and refreshing and lovely, it might not, but the producers of Picpoul de Pinet are starting to experiment a little bit, putting it in a bit of oak and stuff. So some of those styles will age and develop and, different characteristics. Where do you see your comedy going in the next few years? What do you want to develop?
The amount I get paid.
Just the aging of the interest of
my
bank account. Yes, you do, and you know it. Trying to be salty.
I know, man. This is really zinging me up. So I am. One thing I'm playing around with at the moment is putting like music in it, like not to become a musical comedian.
Yeah, that was new because I saw that.
So I bought. So I've been making videos online because of lockdown, I guess.
Yeah. And
they're really fun, and I love doing them a lot. You can check me out, Flood Ha and so you can find them there. And whenever I say anything that I think's the camera, I look at the camera.
It feels like we're talking to. We're
friends.
Talking, but there's one person in the room.
Yeah, like the weird friend you invite, and you're like, can you just say something?
So we'll be chatting,
Creeping
but then
out the
we'll
vibe.
just like really silent.
Isn't it? And they're like, I'll come to your stuff. I like wine. Well, have a glass with us then.
Yeah, say something.
You freak.
Follow me at the Comedy Wine List on Instagram and say something, okay? It's weird. But because this is the first time we've ever filmed one of these episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it again. I'm chatting to them.
Yeah.
And so they're just
bring me into the conversation, mate. You invited me here. I've come all the way over. I got an Uber.
You got to talk to the audience because this is what we naturally do on stage anyway. So we're like, at you. Anywho, where were we going?
You're saying, what am I going to do with my comedy in the future? And I said, one thing I'm playing around with is music. So I was making these songs, and because I used to be in a band, and so I'm a bit like I am a musician in a way.
I didn't think I know that.
Yeah, I used to be in a band called Bleached Whale.
Cool.
Bleached as in hair, whale as in WAIL. Impossible to Google.
I see, yeah.
Which is the main reason that we didn't make it, I think.
The only reason.
The only reason. They got darn SEO. And yeah, so I never started doing music when I started doing comedy because I've been a comedy fan, so I knew that I wanted to build a different skill set that was like just straight up stand-up. Anyway, so I started to bring a bit of the music in because I make songs and I was doing auto-tune in the thing, so I got an auto-tune pedal.
Yeah.
And so I've been trying to do these songs and I'm going to be doing these in the show. And I still haven't done it successfully, really. You saw when
It was successful.
But I'd forgotten, couldn't remember the words of one of them, so I just made it up on the spot, right?
I thought that was a bit.
No.
That you were forgetting on purpose,
No, that was real.
Oh, wicked, okay.
But then, so I did it the other day, for the second time, and so I did the song, and like, it was too long, and I was just like, and it was only a minute and a half, but still, it was like, it was too long, and it wasn't funny enough.
Okay.
And so I ended up doing this joke that I have about being hypnotized to quit smoking,
yeah.
but with the pedal on, and I like sang the joke,
okay,
the whole thing.
Weird, man.
And it was.
Did it work?
It worked really well, and the audience like reacted very well to it. And so I was like, I've discovered this fun thing that I've only played with it a bit, but I'm trying to be. One thing I have in my head is like trying to be like an event, trying to be like a memorable thing. I want to interact with the gig even when I've finished doing my spot, like, in some way, like selling stuff that isn't right, like merch that's wrong, or like getting things wrong on purpose kind of thing. I'm using Instagram, and now I'm giving out cards at gigs, trying to engage with the audience to be like,
I had two
if you
friends
like
on
me,
that day as well.
Yeah.
Like they were just normal people, civilians, not comedians, and they got this business card and they were like, oh, it's really well edited. Oh, it's that guy that we saw at the beginning. And then they flipped it, and I think Paddy was on the other, like, oh, it's the other guy. And stuff. And they were like, really interacting with this bit of paper. Really.
Well, that's it. And I want to, make some things that allow like a QR code that's maybe takes to a video where I'm talking to them about the gig. Things like that, where it's just like carrying on the gig to make people your fan. So then they want to come, because I think if you have somebody who wants to pay for your stuff individually, then you're in control. You don't have to wait for
you don't have to prove
the doors
yourself
to open
as well. They're enjoying the show even pre-show once they've sat down and they're here to see you. They're sort of like they're your friend and they're supporting you. It's a very different vibe.
Yeah.
I don't know, grow your audience, keep doing that. But also, you're talking about QR codes. Have you seen people started tattooing QR codes onto their body and stuff?
I've heard about that.
Would you ever do that for your show?
I mean, I'd have to be like so confident it was going to be good.
Yeah.
But the QR code will go. Be like, oh, I'm going to scan this show. It happened 10 years ago when I used to do comedy, and then I fucked it up with that show.
Like on the sole of your foot or something.
Yeah.
Just be like.
I think because people used to get barcodes in the.
Did they? Yeah.
People used to get barcodes on the back of their neck when they were like, yeah. And I think like.
Stick it to the man.
Yeah. Oh my God, capitalism.
This is a great wine though. So cheers. Thank you for coming.
Cheers. Thank you
for having me.
Anytime, man.
So that was Adam Flood on the Comedy Wine List podcast. Do follow us on Instagram at the Comedy Wine List. You can follow Adam on Insta and Twitter at floodyhaha. Picpoul de Pinet. It was a treat to have a bit of a giggle with Adam, and if you enjoy that sort of thing, make sure you do catch Adam Flood on the comedy circuit with his show A Up Stand Up in King's Cross the beginning of November, and also at the next Leicester Fringe. If you're in South London and you're interested in delicious wine, you want somewhere to catch up with someone, or even for wine education on their affiliated YouTube channel, hit up Streatham Wine House. They've really got you covered, especially if you're doing any kind of wine exams or want to in the future. Can highly recommend Wine with Jimmy on YouTube. It really did get me through lockdown when I was sitting my own wine exams. So cheers to them, cheers to Adam, and I hope you get a sense of the style of this wine, Picpoul de Pinet, through that conversation. Cheers and see you soon on the Comedy Wine List podcast.